Hey everyone, so I want to talk about the essentials for any fish tank, any freshwater fish tank, and then I also want to talk about what I use personally for each of these things here. So our first one is going to be a heater. If you have a cold water tank, you do not need a heater, of course, but if you have a tropical fish tank or a beta tank, anything that requires some heat, you of course will need a heater. And of course the heater size depends on the fish tank size. So for instance, this is a 45-gallon tank here. I have a 150 watt heater on it. The one behind it there, the Fluval 2.6, I only have a 25 watt heater on. And then the Aqueon 7.5 there, I think it's a 50 watt heater on it. So depending on the size of your tank, that will, the size of the heater will depend on the size of the tank. Next is a filter. This goes for cold water and tropical as well. Any fish tank really. And then goldfish are even worse than tropical fish. They're just extremely messy. But again, depending on the size of your tank, the size of your filter will vary. So actually, in this tank, I have two internal filters. I have a Fluval there, and then that one is a Tetra. That one I just have biological media in it though. So that's what I use in this tank. They're just doing internals. And you can see here is my 10-gallon without the light on. And on that I have a very small hang-on bag filter. That one is actually a little bit too small for the size of this tank. But I'm not going to be doing anything too crazy in this tank, so that's why I only have a small filter in it. Right now there's actually no animals in it at all. It's still cycling. And then for another example, the Fluval there, the small one, the first one there, behind the 45, that one actually has a built-in filter, and then the Aqueon shrimp tank behind it, I actually have a hang-on bag filter that is about the correct size. That one is actually made for 10-gallon tanks, and that is a 7.5-gallon tank. So when you pick out a filter, they will usually say the size of tank that they are for. I usually like to go off of the gallons per hour flow rate, and I usually try to do the tank size 10 times per hour. So for instance, if you have a 10-gallon tank, I usually like to do a filter that will do somewhere around 100 gallons per hour. The minimum I like to go is 8 times per hour. So again, for instance, 10-gallon tank would be a filter no less than 80 gallons per hour flow rate on it. Hopefully that makes some sense. And then of course a lot of the fish tank kits come with filters already with them. Again, like the Fluval and then also the Aqueon there, they both came with filters. So those are usually okay for the tank itself, of course, since that's what came packaged with them. But of course, that's not always true. Again, sometimes they do put too weak of filters or even too strong of filters with the kit. But again, I like to keep it somewhere between 8 to 10 times flow rate per hour. Again, hopefully that makes some sense. Next, let's talk about substrate. This is not necessarily an essential, but I think most people do use substrate, and it also does actually help with filtering a little bit. It helps keep your biological goodness going. Your good bacteria lives in the substrate, and actually lives pretty much on everything in your tank. But so you can use sand, you can use gravel. My favorite is using gravel followed up by sand. Gravel to me is just the easiest, and it also hides the poop and uneaten food very well, where sand can show it off on top of it. Then you can also use a whole bunch of other stuff. You can use glass marbles. You can use big stones. You can go to a pet store and you'll probably find like 10 different types of substrate, or at least 10 different sizes of substrate. And then you could just do a bare bottom tank. That is usually only though if you're going to be like breeding or for like a hospital tank. But I would say that having gravel or sand or some sort of substrate is a very good idea, and I personally use them in every single tank. Again, unless I'm trying to breed something, which, yeah, that is a different story. Next, let's talk about decorations. So in this tank you can see here, I have a whole bunch of plants. My fish really like the plants. They swim in and out of them. They hide in them. Some of my fish I don't even see until I feed them because they're hiding in the plants. It helps them feel secure. So you can do like live plants. You can do fake plants. If you do live plants, it will help filter your tank as well. Help keep the tank a bit cleaner. I do have live plants in some tanks, such as the 10 gallon I showed before. That is all live plants. Well, 99% live plants. Where this one, I don't think I actually have any live plants in. And then, of course, the type of live plants you get will depend on your light that you have in there. Some tanks, like this one, come with a very not a good light for actual plant growth, just to show off the tank. But you can, of course, buy plant specific lights as well. Besides from plants, you can also get like you see like in the corner there I have a skeleton head. I think it's like a mammoth head. On the other side here I have a rhino. I think it's a rhino head as well. Skull. You can see I have a piece of driftwood here. That was actually alive at one time. And now you can do like caves, so you guys can see, but right behind this green here, there's actually a lot of people call them pleco caves. I guess plecosmists like to hide in them. So I mean, go to a pet store and you can find dozens upon dozens of different types of decorations, probably even hundreds of decorations. So I would say decorations are essential again, unless you are trying to breed or it is a hospital tank. But a normal standard tank, I would say that those are essential. They at least have some sort of decoration. So again, it helps the fish feel secure. I almost forgot to talk about lights. So again, when we buy a fish tank kit, a lot of times they will come with a hood with built-in lights on them. Otherwise, you can buy external lights, so such as this Aqueon plant light. I'm going to turn that one on right now. So this one is actually specifically supposed to help plant growth, and it looks very nice. And this one actually came with a Aqueon shrimp tank, the deluxe one, the designer one, and I'm using it now for this 10-gallon tank instead. But you can also buy this by itself. I think it's like 40 or 50 bucks. So I do, of course, again, go to the pet store. You can find probably at least 10, 15 different lights that you can buy. Again, some are made for plant growth. Some are made just to make your tank look good. Now they do have, and they've been having for years now, LEDs that do the different color changes. This one just does white or blue. But they do have other ones, such as the Aqueon OptiBrace that has like 15 different colors to them. So again, I would say lights are an essential, especially if you have live plants in it. They do need, of course, lights to live and grow. Now there is an exception to that, and that would be, again, don't have live plants, don't have things that actually need light. Fish do not actually need lights to live unless they are in a very crazy dark room that gets no natural light. So if you have your tank in a room that gets some natural light from a window or something like that, then you don't necessarily need an extra light, but they do need some sort of light, I would say, because I know nobody wants to live in complete darkness. All right, next I want to talk about water and water conditioner. The best water conditioner on the market is going to be Prime. This is super concentrated, very, very good stuff. What this does is make your tap water safe for fish use. And again, I would highly recommend using Prime over like anything else. Super concentrated stuff, and it removes everything that it needs to remove from your tap water. And the way I do it is I grab a 5-gallon bucket, fill it up with tap water, measure out how much of the Prime I need using the cap, and then dump that into the bucket into the water that's in the bucket, of course. Or you can do this first and then put the water on top of it. Pour this in, pour in the water. Then I usually let it sit there for at least 5-10 minutes or so before I actually use that water in for a water change. I don't know if you actually need to do that, but I just feel like it gives it time to do its thing before you use it in your fish tank. Next, I want to talk a little bit about food. Again, my favorite brand of food is New Life Spectrum. Stuff is a little bit more expensive. A bottle like this is, see, I pay about $11, or the store I buy this from charges about $11. I get a discount on it since my brother works there. But New Life Spectrum is a really good food. This is what I personally use. And again, depending on the type of fish you have, well, the type of food you get and use will be different. So if you have goldfish, you want to get goldfish specific food. If you have tropical fish, then buy tropical fish food, of course. And then there's also saltwater or marine foods as well. Then there's also like algae wafers, bottom feeder foods. So depending on the type of fish you have, you will have to vary up your food. And also, I would recommend getting a couple different types of food. There are a couple different brands of food. That way, it changes up your fish's diet. Nobody wants to eat the same thing every single day at every single meal. And then one more essential is a freshwater master test kit, or if you have a saltwater tank, that would be a saltwater master test kit. I personally use this API one. And what it does is it tests for your ammonia, your nitrite, your nitrate, your pH. Some will even test for other things as well. But I recommend doing this. I would say you should check your parameters with this types of kit at least once a month or more. You can even do once a week. Especially if your fish start acting weird, then you for sure want to get your water tested out, see what is up with your water. If you guys don't want to buy one of these, I believe PetSmart and Petco, along with most other pet stores, you can just bring in a sample of your water, and the store will test it for free for you. I know actually PetSmart, a lot of their tanks kit come with a little test vial. They just fill it up and bring it into a store, and they'll test it for you. So that is a very highly recommended thing, because again, it will let you know if there's something wrong with your tank, in terms of like ammonia, nitrite, etc. Alright, I got, I think, just two more things here real fast. One is a fish net. These courses come in a whole bunch of crazy different sizes and colors. This is helpful when you need to catch fish for whatever reason. If you got a sick fish, you need to move them to your hospital tank, you of course need a fish net. Or whatever other reason you might need a fish net for. And then, I think this is the last thing, would be an algae scrubber of some sort. So again, come in many different sizes and shapes and colors and whatnot. This of course just scrapes your algae off of the sides of your tank, because if you have tanks like mine, they get algae up pretty bad, especially if they are near a window like mine are. So these are highly recommended, and these are pretty dang cheap. You can also buy, some stores will sell these, I think they're called like magic erasers, something like that. These work very well as well. Alright, so if I forgot anything, guys, leave a comment below. If you guys have any questions, of course, leave a comment below as well. I think I got all of the essentials that you need for a fish tank. Now, I mean, yes, you could add in CO2 if you have live plants that need CO2. I do not have any tanks that need that. But if you do have live plants that need CO2, then of course that is an essential as well. Again, if I forgot anything, please leave a comment below. Thank you guys very much for watching. Hopefully this was helpful. I'll see you guys in the next vid. Goodbye.